Continuing with the part 2, we'll first gonna cover what is WGAN, that is the Washington GAN, which sweeps out the original laws for something that is based on the Earth's distance. Instead of a discriminator that just classify real and fake, you get a critic that score how real something looks, and if it obey the maths constraint, then it is also called as the one Liplitz. This change to lead to a smoother gradient and much more stable training. One more thing that is not written here but can be useful for your consideration is that WGAN is also being used having a negative loss function sometime when out of the unbounded zone. Now we'll see some of the different flavors of GAN. So it's not just one GAN. There are different flavors like the vanilla GAN, the original simple version, good for low resolution images. DCGAN, add convolution layer and batch normalization, much more stable kind of baseline everyone build on. Then we have the conditional GAN, let you control what gets generated by feeding into a label like a generating a cat instead of just generating something. We have WGAN and WGAN GP, focused purely on fixing training stability with WGAN GP using a gradient penalty for every strong stability guarantees. Then we have the CycleGAN and the StyleGAN. StyleGAN is something behind the realistic AI faces. Now tuning a GAN, what does this actually mean? If you ever train a GAN by your own self, these are the parameters that are need to be taken into account: the learning rate and the latent dimension, then the discriminate step. Sometimes you train D multiple times per single G update, especially early on to keep the thing stable. Then we have the gradient penalty used in the WGAN GP, typically weighted around 10 to enforce the Liplitz constraint as we mentioned earlier. Then we have the batch size. Larger the batch size give you more stable gradient estimation. Then we have the label smoothing. Instead of telling D that this is 100% real, you might say this is 90% real. This stop the discriminant from getting overconfidence. What are the GAN actually used for? So now theoretically GAN are powerful for image synthesis, image to image translation, data augmentation, anomaly detection, domain adaptation, and text to image. Okay, so these are some of the portion where GAN as being a part are actually being used. Then moving forward, we have some of the key takeaways about it. The GAN generate data through an adversarial game between two networks. No explicit probability modeling required. The biggest challenge with GAN is in the training stability, that the vanishing gradient and the mode collapse, oscillation. These are the classical failure modes. Then the Washington GAN, which we have just talked about, loses with smoothness. It doesn't just tell you like a classification, like a binary part, that is it fake or real. It tell you that how differ the fake part is from the real one, and more reliable training compared to the original setup. Moving, we have the conditional GAN that let you actually control that what's get generated. Means if a dog image is being generated, then you can give a tag by your own self in conditional GAN. The architecture for this complete GAN matters just as much as the loss function. That's why DCGAN and the StyleGAN were such big deals. DCGAN and StyleGANs are something that are being used in our day-to-day image generation task. And finally, don't just eyeball generating samples. Use the quantitative parameters and matrices like the FID and the inception score. Okay, so you just get the information that what is being generated, but now you need to check also via matrix or score that what is it. So for that you can use the FID score and the inception score. So basically you take a predetermined image classifier like inception v3 and use it to extract the feature representation, not the final classes but just the rich interior features. Now there are two parts. A low FID means that the generated image feature is closer to the real image. A high FID means that the generated sample look different from the real one. So this is one thing that you can take in mind. Yeah, so here we have completed with the basics of the GAN. We'll be covering a third lecture also on GAN, and fourth and fifth lecture also. Total 5 lectures will be there on the GAN. So that's the second lecture. Thank you.